Hey, what's up, VC, and everybody out there in the YouTubes? It's Kendall coming back to you for the Spin Doctor and his Vinyl Mayhem YouTube channel. It's been a couple weeks, I know. Wanted to do this video, something I haven't done in a little while. I'm going to just talk about some new releases this year that I've picked up. I got 4 titles I'm going to talk about. First things first, I want to thank everyone who watched my last video. That one's gotten some traction and I appreciate it. Got me some new subscribers. Appreciate that. So if you're new to the channel, thanks for subscribing and thanks for the comments and everything. Do appreciate it. If you haven't seen the last video, go back and check it out. Appreciate all the support I've been getting lately. But this video is going to be about 4 new releases that have come out this year. And just, new music. Forget the old stuff. Let's talk about the new. First one I'm going to mention is by someone who's a little old. He just turned 60 a couple weeks ago. This is Lenny Kravitz's new album. And I've been looking forward to this one, I got to admit. I've been a huge Lenny Kravitz fan for a very long time. This is Blue Electric Light. That's what it's called, right? Yeah, Blue Electric Light. When they mentioned this album coming out last year, I was very excited about it. Always been a huge fan of Lenny and pretty much everything he does. He's always been true to himself, been true to everything about himself. Love that about Lenny. He's never going to change who he is, and this album is no exception. He's been doing this for a long time, and he plays pretty much everything on this album. Him and his longtime guitar player, Craig Ross, great guitar player. He has said in interviews that he did this album during the pandemic. He said he wrote like 60 songs during the pandemic. This is just a taste of it. This album, to me, is a great fusion of funk, soul, some great rock and roll in this as well. But I would say it relies heavily on the funk and soul. Again, that was his upbringing, really, when you think about him as a person. But just some great stuff on this. When TK421 came out last year, that was a hard-hitting song, I thought. But he followed up with some good stuff as well, too. Some of my favorites on this are Paralyzed. I thought was really good. That one's got a great riff, just some hard rocking guitar in it. And then just some good songs like Love Is My Religion. That's a great soulful song. Heaven is another great soulful tune. Just the stuff you'd come to expect from. I know some people have not been as high on this, but I've heard some people talk about how great this is. To me, this is great. Anything Lenny does is great, in my opinion. This does come on the blue and pinkish color vinyl. I'm not going to pull it out just because it'd be too hard to do. But anyway, if you guys are fans of Lenny, I would encourage you to check this album out. It is great. You won't be disappointed with it. Hits hard. I love Lenny and everything he does, so check it out. This next one, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this one took some time for me to get used to. This is the Black Crowes new album that came out in March, and I gotta be honest with you, when I first heard this album, I streamed it first, and I didn't like it. I was like, I'm gonna pass on this one. I listened to it, and I just was not digging it at all. I decided I wasn't gonna buy it. And I just was like, this is not what I was wanting. This isn't what I was expecting. And I think the problem was, one, I was listening to a lot of different kinds of stuff at the time that this came out. And so I just wasn't digging the kind of music it was, because I was listening to other kinds of music at the time. And so it just wasn't what I was into at the time, which is weird. And so I was like, nope, not a big fan. And so I just kind of shoved it away. But then I started listening to, I was watching people talk about the album, friends of mine, other YouTubers, and they were talking about how much they liked it. And so I gave it another chance. I'm like, you know what, it's not too bad. But what it actually took was a friend of mine actually went to go see them here in Charlotte at Ovens Auditorium, which is a little small place. They were the headliner, and he had seen them when they did the reunion tour right after the pandemic. And he saw them then, and he actually said he didn't like the show, but he went to this one, and it was a smaller show. They were the headliner, and he said it was awesome, that it was one of the best shows he had seen in a long, long time. And this is a guy that goes to a lot of shows. But he was in the merch line, and he said that they had all this stuff. He said that they had the album for sale. And at the time, you couldn't find this album. It was kind of like back order, and so you couldn't find it anywhere. And he said that they had signed copies as well, which he asked if I wanted one. And I was like, I don't want to spend that much money. He said, but do you want a copy of the album? And I said, you know what? Yeah, go ahead and get me a copy, because I knew it was hard to get at the time. So he got me a copy of it. And I listened to it, and I'm like, you know what? This is actually really good, because it did sound more like the Black Crowes that I remembered from the earlier times, like the first two albums, third one a little bit too. And I started to really actually dig the album. And so I have to admit, I was wrong. The album is better than I remember. Bedside Manners is a really good song. Cross Your Fingers is really good, and that's just on side one. They do have a song, Wilted Rose, with Lainey Wilson. That one's okay, and I think that was one of the things that kind of turned me off. I'm like, why are they doing a song with a country singer? It just didn't seem like it would fit to me. But it actually isn't that bad. I don't know Lainey Wilson that much, but I know she's like the talk of the town right now in country music. It is what it is. I'm not really heavily into new country as I am into old, which you guys have seen through my videos. But anyway, I gave this another chance, and I have to say that I really, really do like it now. It's great to see the Robinson brothers back together, of course, making new music as well. So yeah, I say give this album a chance. It really does have that great old Black Crow sound to it. So I was wrong, and that just goes to show that you can be wrong about music that you didn't like at first. So give this one a chance. Next, I have this one here, which I have to say I've been a fan of this guy for a while now, and this is Marcus King's new album called Mood Swings, and this is a great album on that orange vinyl. Marcus King, I think, is a tremendous guitar player, but he's also a great soul singer as well. And he's one of those guys that when you look at him, you go, wait, that's who's doing that? That's who's playing the guitar? That's who's singing? Not exactly what you expect. He's from just down the road in South Carolina. I think it's Greenville, South Carolina. I could be wrong, but I want to say it's Greenville. Anyway, this is an interesting album because it really focuses on his depression issues, his bipolar issues, and all that is really in the songwriting. I almost even wouldn't call this a blues album so much as a soul album, but it's got the blues elements to it. But it's a really good album. Not my favorite of his, I'll be completely honest. I prefer the Marcus King Band albums to his solo albums. Not to say that this isn't a good album. There's some really great tracks on here. I have to say Delilah is a great one. Hero's a good one. And what's the other one I like? Save Me is a good one. Some of these are a little weird, I think. I'm not gonna lie, they're a little bit funky. I really don't like the last track, Cadillac. I don't understand what they were doing with that one. But I do like the fact that he kind of bears his soul on this. You gotta give props to somebody who kind of lays it out all online. But really, really good album. Like I said, I did read somewhere that he said the next album he does is going to be a Marcus King Band album. So I really look forward to that. But if you're a fan of blues, if you're a fan of soul, give this one a listen. Again, it's called Mood Swings. I'll say that this came out in March as well. Really great album. Great guitar player. You won't be disappointed, I'm sure. Now, to me, probably the best album of the four is this one here. And this is Slash's new album. I want to make sure I get the title right, just because. But yeah, Orgy of the Damned. A little funky title, and cover also definitely very interesting. We won't get into that. This is a great album. It's a 2 LP on black vinyl, but what makes this so good is, yes, it's a covers album. It's got nothing but, well, there's one original song on it and it's an instrumental, but everything else is either a blues or soul R&B cover. And in an interview I heard, he said that he picked these songs based on stuff that he did with his first band after Guns N' Roses, or stuff that he grew up listening to and loving. And so we got classics on here. We got The Pusher, we got Crossroads, we got Hoochie Coochie Man, we got Oh Well by Fleetwood Mac, the original Fleetwood Mac, with Peter Green. We got Key to the Highway, we got Born Under a Bad Sign. Then we got Papa Was a Rolling Stone and Living for the City, which of course are more of the soul R&B songs. But he's got some great guest vocalists on here. Paul Rogers doing Born Under a Bad Sign. Oh my goodness, so good. Billy Gibbons doing Hoochie Coochie Man. Gary Clark Jr. doing Crossroads. Chris Robinson doing The Pusher. Chris Stapleton doing Oh Well, which is probably, if not my favorite, at least one of my favorites. Now, the one that's gotten probably the most attention is Papa Was a Rolling Stone with Demi Lovato. I like it. However, I'm not as in love with it as everybody else is. I just feel like the vocal that she gives it is not the vocal it needed. She doesn't give it a soulful vocal that I think it needed. And I'm probably going to catch flack for that. I just don't think it was the right vocal choice for that song. Now, I will say the instrumentation given to it, oh my goodness, the wah-wah, everything that Slash and the band does is so good. Sounds amazing. So good. And then, of course, Brian Johnson doing Killing Floor, which won't get into all that, of course, because Killing Floor became a Led Zeppelin song. We won't get into all that. But anyway, so good. You guys have to listen to this album. It is so good. One of my favorites so far this year. I've talked about how so far my favorites have been the I'm brain dead all of a sudden. Anyway, we won't get into that. This is going to make it into my tops for sure. Such a good album. Slash killing it on guitar. Just great tunes all the way. If you love blues rock, you're going to love this album. Great vocalists. Just great all around. Stream it first if you're not sure, but you won't be disappointed if you blind buy this. Anyway. So good. Anyway, guys, those are the 4 albums I wanted to talk about. I love all 4 of them. Great to see new music. Granted, 3 of the 4 I showed weren't really from new artists. But, it is what it is. It's great to see artists that are still, out there putting out new music that is relevant, in my opinion. But, yeah, it's great to have new music that I still enjoy, not just old stuff. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave me a like, a comment. Also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. All that kind of stuff. Give me a thumbs up. You know the drill. Anyway, we'll hope to catch you guys down the road. And until next time, peace and love. Bye-bye.